At school, Alex stood out from his peers because he was very handsome and brave. Many girls wrote letters to him expressing their love. Even some young men were asking how to achieve such a beautiful body. A new chemistry teacher came to the school. He was a type of person who did not like to talk to others. Classes continue. Students rush out for recess. Someone else played a joke on a friend. At that moment, a blonde screams loudly. Everyone asks him why he did this. The blonde girl told the people around her that the huge creature was looking at her from inside the wall, and when she screamed, it went back into the wall. Some rude schoolboys did not believe his words and mocked him, so Alex made a fist gesture to explain to them that he would not do that. The days began to drag on. Everyone is in class. Only the newly arrived chemistry teacher rushed into his room in a state of agitation. After 1 hour, he came out exhausted and tired. For some reason, these actions of the new teacher aroused suspicion in Alex. Night. Everyone is asleep. Only Charlie went to the bathroom a lot at night. Another scream was heard in the hall. This time, the voice that shouted was Charlie's. In an instant, the students gathered. They saw Charlie lying on the ground. School teachers ordered students to go to their rooms. They carried Charlie to the school hospital. Alex couldn't sleep for some reason. The events that took place did not give him peace. What could happen here? Everyone panicked. These thoughts did not give him peace. At one point, he seemed suspicious of the new chemistry teacher. Why does he not like to talk to anyone? Why does he avoid everyone? And why does he always walk with a limp? These questions also stuck to Alex like a leech. Curiosity piqued. Alex got up and went outside in the bedroom. There was no one in the hall, only a clock hanging on 2 walls and a dim lamp. He stopped at the place where Charlie had yelled. He carefully looked around. Silence. It's quiet outside. There seems to be no suspicious incident. As Alex turned around and walked toward the bedroom, he felt a huge creature standing behind him. He flinched a bit, but because of his boldness, he caught himself and turned around. No, there was nothing behind it. He slowly walked back to the room, saying that it was interesting. The next day, the lesson was interrupted by Jessica's screaming voice. The students in the room all turned around. Jessica was standing in front of the door with tears in her eyes, shaking legs and hands. It was obvious that he was very afraid of something. Everyone surrounded him. Everyone was asking him questions and no one could hear each other. Alex's thick voice quieted the noise. He comes to Jessica and asks what happened. Jessica, whose lips never stopped quivering, "I saw a creature," he cried. Alex asked the girl to calm down and ask where she saw the creature. A schoolgirl handed him water. The girl drank the water and began to speak with a feeling of relief. She said that when she went into her room to get homework from her chemistry teacher, she saw a large creature chained in a cage against the wall, and she started crying again. Alex ran to the chemistry teacher's room without hesitation. Others joined him, pupils, teachers, and even guards and gardeners. When they went to the professor's room, everyone was surprised. Some shouted, some cried. Someone has lost their temper. In a cage stood a huge creature chained. Next to the creature stood a teacher who had turned into a completely different person, not a sullen teacher. He was laughing now. Alex was surprised. The creature in the cage was trying to get out of the cage as he screamed.
Director Mrs. Salinas said that you and your huge creature are the reason for the disappointments happening in our school. The teacher finally started talking, laughing at his words again. I have been practicing black magic before. I took care of various animals in my house. I brought this creature into my room at night when everyone was sleeping. The creature you see can move to the other side of the wall, but he can't get out of the cage I've chained, because I bewitched him myself. A naughty girl with blonde hair, Charlie, who likes to go to the toilet a lot, and a stupid girl who trespasses in other people's rooms saw my huge creature. I never talk to anyone. I like creatures. I will take care of this creature myself. Don't look at me in surprise. Saying that I am such a person, he releases the creature from the cage. The creature attacks Steve first by biting him on the leg. The gardener bites his uncle's hand. On the other hand, the teacher was laughing non-stop, enjoying it. Although Alex was surprised by the events, he did not lose his temper. He took the chain that was lying on the ground and tied the creature around his neck and tried to strangle the creature's neck with the chain. Immediately, the police arrived at the school. And they killed the creature with a gun. Everyone clapped for Alex. He was applauded.
My sister Nozima had heart attacks from time to time since she was a child. The doctor who constantly examines him said, "The disease in his heart is congenital. There is no cure for it. But if we manage to keep the disease from getting worse due to constant treatment and good attention, we can prolong his life." That's why my mother never left him alone, did his treatments, and even slept with him at night. And when he was busy with some work, he made sure not to leave him alone. My sister herself didn't want to be alone. She liked to play with many people. We could not send them to school regularly because he was often sick. The head of the class sent the teachers to our house. This is where Nozima grew up. When he was 17 years old, he looked so healthy and fresh that anyone who saw him was jealous and no one believed that he was sick. Suitors began to come to our house asking for my sister, who looked healthy and strong from the outside. But the doctors told my parents, "Your daughter can get married, but she can't have children." So the suitors who came were rejected. One such day, my sister asked to stay in the school hall with her classmates who were preparing for the prom. My mother did not reciprocate her opinion, but attached her best friend to her. One of his classmates was singing, one was reciting poetry, and another group was preparing an interesting performance. And my sister took it upon herself to dance. Well, the day has come. It's the last bell at school. The schoolyard is full of students, teachers, and parents. One by one, the graduates began to perform their prepared songs, dances, and performances. Unexpectedly, a sad but very pleasant melody was heard. My sister came to the circle in a dancer's outfit. He performed the dance so passionately that everyone who came to the event was stunned. My mother, who was standing next to me and watching my sister, cried with joy. My sister's face was glowing with happiness, and her eyes were shining with joy. Even when we returned home around noon, my sister's excitement did not subside. She kept saying that the holiday went well and that she danced with joy. It was as if he was completely healed in an instant. Nozima's joy did not last long. In the afternoon at 2 o'clock, his health deteriorated. He was panting heavily and barely breathing. We immediately called ambulance, and my sister fainted. No matter how hard we tried, he couldn't come to himself. After examining our sister, the doctor who arrived in the ambulance gave us the news that shocked us all. "We can no longer help your daughter. She died," he said, and went out the door. Although summer had just begun, the day was very hot, as if the whole world was on fire. That's why the village elders said to my parents, "The corpse cannot be left until tomorrow. See that you prepare it as soon as possible." When we were following Nozima back to the final destination, life seemed to have stopped. My elder brother Salahidin loved my sister very much. His kindness was different. Since the separation was causing him great pain, he walked in the yard without batting an eye at night, and as soon as the morning dawned, he hurriedly left, saying that he would come to the cemetery. But even though he had been gone for a long time, there was still no sign of him. When we call, the mobile phone is also switched off. My father was worried and said, "My son, go to the cemetery." I immediately went to the cemetery without waiting for others. The cemetery was quiet. Only someone was lying in front of my sister's grave. When I ran, my brother was lying unconscious and the cemetery guard was trying to wake him up. I also rushed to help. My brother came to his senses after a while, but his mind was confused. Focusing his eyes on one point, he said, "We didn't know. We buried you alive. Forgive us, sister. We were in a hurry." He barely whispered. I was busy with him. I looked in the direction where my brother was staring, and I froze. My sister's grave was open. He was lying with his shroud half open and one hand outside the shroud. He was lying on his side, his whole body turned on his side, his eyes half open. My whole body trembled like an ant crawling, but I tried to catch myself. Because my brother's condition is very bad. If I don't take him out of here, it was out of the question that he would die. I took my phone and called my second brother and arranged for him to come to the cemetery by car. Then I straightened my sister's shroud with the help of a guard. My brother arrived soon, and we put my older brother in the car together. We asked the guard to convey the situation to my father and elders, and to solve the issue of the grave, and we left there. By the time we reached the hospital, my brother Salahuddin passed out again. When the doctors heard the details of the incident, they said, "It's just a stressful situation. Your brother should rest well. It is dangerous to disturb him, to try to bring him to himself," they said. Meanwhile, my parents and other relatives also arrived at the hospital. We had no choice but to pray to God and wait for my brother's recovery. The cemetery guard explained the incident to my father and the elder in detail. The elder looked at my father and said that we are a little hasty in burying your daughter's body. Maybe she is not dead, but she may have been in a state of clinical death. That is, a coma. As we later learned from the cemetery guard, the incident happened like this. When my brother Salahuddin went to the grave and recited the blessing, a voice was heard from inside the grave. My brother was scared and went back after saying the prayer. The guard, who saw him returning pale and covered in black sweat, asked, "What's the matter, my son?" My brother said, "I was just scared, I guess." "It was as if a voice was heard from inside the grave," he said. The guard said that this voice had not stopped since the night and did not give him sleep until morning. Hearing this, my brother ran to my sister's grave and hurriedly tried to open the grave. Despite the guard's moans, he easily removed the soil in all directions, whether it was buried yesterday. When the grave was opened, my brother saw our sister in the state I described and lost consciousness. We still haven't been able to forget that terrible incident that caused my brother Salahuddin to look like a madman for life.